Friend, and it's so well said, from an energy state like Louisiana, just like Pennsylvania, we know how important this is to us. And under the Trump administration, we had achieved energy dominance. We could get back to that if they would just simply do the opposite of what they're doing. Thank you for participating tonight. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to yield next the gentleman from Tennessee, Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Johnson. Appreciate you yielding me time tonight. Mr. Speaker, inflation is an invisible tax that Americans pay every day. Everywhere you look, inflation is wreaking havoc. At the gas station, gas is up 48%. At the grocery store, beef is up 20%, chicken up 15%, butter up 14%, fruits and vegetables up 7%, coffee up 12%. At home, electricity is up 11%. Furniture is up 15%, and even the rent is up 5%. Well, what about a vacation? You still won't be able to escape inflation, as hotels are up 29% and airplane flights are up 23%. Recent graduates entering the workforce will be forced to pay record high rent and other expenses as they enter adulthood. New mothers and fathers will pay 10% higher prices for baby food. And many Americans who saved their entire lives to retire comfortably are now faced with the brutal realization that they may not have saved enough. Even the Nashville airport, which is renovating and expanding, was hit hard by inflation when the price of a new satellite concourse jumped from $92 million just last March to over $134 million today. As you can see, inflation affects every aspect of our lives. It's costing the average American family an extra $433 per month, and it is expected to cost each household over $5,000 extra dollars just this year alone. Inflation isn't something you can easily turn off, but President Biden and congressional Democrats proved that their reckless progressive policies can certainly turn it on. Since President Biden took office and Democrats gained control of both chambers of Congress, inflation has increased every single month. They borrowed from future generations and spent trillions of hard-earned taxpayer dollars on wasteful government programs and assured us that it wouldn't cause inflation, even though we all knew it would. That's why it's so disingenuous that the President, his administration, and Democratic allies in Congress and the mainstream media are blaming inflation on the invasion of Ukraine. To use one of the President's favorite words, that's pure malarkey. Meanwhile, as my constituents feel more pain each day from the growing inflation disaster, the President and his administration hardly even mention it, much less offer solutions, except to propose spending trillions of dollars more that we don't have, which all, of course, only makes things worse. Just look at President Biden's budget proposal, where inflation is not mentioned even one time. Instead, it calls for spending a whopping $75 trillion over the next decade. There is no denying that the massive deficit spending got us into this harmful mess, and doing more of the same certainly won't get us out of it. I and my fellow conservatives have pushed back as hard as we can against the reckless approach to governing that our Democratic friends have taken, but we have been outnumbered and outvoted. Even though we're outgunned for now, I will nevertheless continue to work hard with my fellow Republicans to do all we can to fight back on every wasteful spending bill the Democrats bring until our common sense conservative reinforcements are elected in the fall and arrive in January. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman, and I yield back.
That is so well said, and I know that you have articulated what's on the hearts and minds of so many of our constituents. Inflation is a very real problem for the American people. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to yield next the gentleman from California, Mr. LaMalfa.